Well, good evening, everyone. Those who aren't in the hall yet, I'd like to know we're going to get started. So, and welcome and thank you for coming to this convention. It's nice to see a full room of MGEU delegates. We have a lot of work to do in the next couple of days, and I'm really looking forward to do that with you guys. I think we have some important decisions to make, and you guys are setting the direction for our union for the next term. So it's really important our work here today. So please don't be shy. Get up to the mic. Let's enjoy our couple of days together. So. When we start, I'd like to start with our traditional land acknowledgement. The MGEU operates throughout Manitoba and is located on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Nishinawak, Inawak, Mehetwak, Dakota, Dene, and Métis people. Our primary office is located on Treaty 1 territory and the homeland of the Red River Métis. Our work extends throughout Treaties 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. We respect the treaties made on these territories. We dedicate ourselves to move forward with Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration to make Manitoba an inclusive and accessible place for everyone who lives here. I want to also thank all the members who have put forward a resolution for this convention. Without that, we wouldn't have work to do, so it's really awesome that you guys took that time and were thoughtful about it, so good on you guys. It's really important. And let's be respectful when you discuss those. We may not always agree, but let's talk about the issue, not about the person. It's more about the issues here. Let's make sure we're respectful and make sure we not get mad at people for not being on our side for pros and cons. So let's have a good time. So now I'd like to welcome Elder Barbara Niepenak for this year's invocation. Barbara is the recipient of the Order of Manitoba and received the Award of Distinction from Travel Manitoba, as well as a UNESCO Knowledge Keepers Award in Dubai. I want to congratulate on behalf of MGEU members on this recognition and welcome you to our convention.
Thank you, Miigwech. Thank you very much for inviting me to be here today. I was telling John, you know, I retired from the federal government, so I pray for PSAC, Unifor, MGEU, and every other union. I got it all covered. It's always an honor to be asked to do an opening prayer for delegates, visitors that come to our city, and people that generally live here. I pray in my language, in Anishinaabe language, but I pray for each and every one of you. I pray for our relatives. I pray for people that are sick, children that are in care, people that are homeless. That's what I pray for, but most importantly, I pray for that, your purpose, why you come together as workers. You know, back in my day, when we had gatherings, we never had such a thing as what I'm standing here doing for you today. And it's always an honor to do that. And this is a good way to start, because for us, that's what we believe in, is the guidance, and we share our prayers. So I will pray in my language, in Anishinaabe. I came from a family of 9 girls and 2 brothers. And my mother always used to say, pray in the language you know best. English is my second language, so with that, I'm going to do my prayer. Incidentally, I just got back from Dubai as well, and I was so proud to go there and pray for these people in my language. So I value what I know, I value what I carry here and here. So I'm here to share with you this prayer. But the shade no shaman to wash bago sentiment. Chishaway in Migum, Chisungisium, Chiwawi Chitian. And pay here go kaina biotoma, Koyokin in New York. Kauna Shwayot, and pay him go tanokik. Kavi on the second more, Minapi Martisian. And pay here, Monsieur Gashakushanwat, get the name Maharinanik. I've been on Chica Hotahandan. Kapatakot is out to Raminiquayot, Kagunchikayot. Make a win on the Chipaco Senma. Can Minope Matis when she meaning go out, Kavin Ramanitun. But the Shan will come get chin and Gikskatuan, Gikit when she beat Wanoma. Now, Gishaweni Mak, Dabinonchi Mak, then away Maganak. Piwite Komahayawat. Ayan Gomisik. Gikichin and the Margi Pishan. Hangeget, me watching ticket no gagizu. I embrace you all, my friends. I hope you have a good gathering. And this is always a good way to start. When you start off with a prayer, you're on the right path. So good luck with your gathering. Miigwech, and I'll see you again next year.
At this time, as is our tradition, I would like to observe a moment of silence for our brothers, sisters, and friends that have passed since our last convention. So let's please bow our heads in silence. Thank you, delegates. Now I'd like to welcome Winnipeg's own Tobacco, Flowers, and Gin to sing our national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, our true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you, Tobacco, Flowers, and Gin. Now, brother and sister duo, Jamie and Sarah. Next, I'd like to introduce the head table. Our first Vice President, Scott Clooney, who also chairs the Constitution, Bylaw, and Structure Committee. We have our second Vice President, Kimberly Lynn, who is the Chair of the Finance Committee. Our third Vice President, Chris Kwan, who serves as the Chair of the Membership Education Committee. Our fourth Vice President, Stephanie Swain, who serves as Chair of the Women's Committee. Now our Component Directors, Michelle Skabinski, Administration Component Director. Chiffon McLeod, Clerical Component Director. Wow, I can't read today. Jeff Reddy, Corrections Component Director. Deb Jamerson, Legal Director. Brian Wilson, Physical Sciences Director. Kira Shattuck, Social Sciences Director. Eldon Bergson, Trades Director. Tammy Crow, Community Support Director. Michelle Huskelson, Community-Based Social Services Component Director. Dave Hill, Golico Director. Shelley Rougeau, Healthcare Support Services Director. Tracy Grenowagen, MPI Director. Matthew Fontaine, Post-Secondary Education. And Diana Schultz, Technical Professional Director. And now our Area Director, Les Sosowski, Area 1 Director, he's virtual. Shelley Wiggins, Area 2 Director. Dana Troke, Area 3 Director. Ed Miller, Area 4 Director. Amanda Russell, Area 5 Director. Andrew Malaysia, Area 6 Director. Pam Narinsky, Area 7 Director. And Donnie Palmer, Area 8 Director. We also have Janet Kaler. She's MGEU's Member Services Director and Elections Chairperson. Jean-Guy Bourgeois is MGEU's Director of Internal Operations. Sheila Gordon is MGEU's Director of Negotiations. I would also like to introduce an important participant at the head table. Kevin Rebeck is the President of the Manitoba Federation of Labour, and he is serving as our parliamentarian. I want to thank the Board of Directors for acting as true leaders during this last term. I really appreciate the work they've done. We've had some tough discussions at the board, but we always seem to find a good place where we all could live with the decisions, and we all went forward trying to further our union. So it's been a really good term, and I really appreciate all these people up here. This is my first biennial convention, being up here as your president, but it is my third convention that I have chaired, so it's been a busy couple of years. These last 2 years have been challenging for our union, but it's with solidarity within our union and support from the labor movement that has helped us weather what has been thrown our way. One of those supporters is Winnipeg Labour Council President Melissa Dvorak, who is with us today to bring greetings. Melissa was elected in 2020 as the president of Winnipeg's Labour Council. Prior to that, her entire career has been in community-based social services, working directly with children, teens, and families. Many of us in this room know Melissa from her many years working as an activist in the MGEU family. As a board member, as a provincial table officer, she has brought that same energy and passion to her role with the Winnipeg Labour Council, and we are proud of her accomplishments. She has always been a labour and community advocate, standing up for workers and most vulnerable in our community. As WLC president, she has been building a supportive, well-functioning team of labour activists, engaging in and collaborating with delegates, like-minded community groups, and adapting to challenging times. Melissa cares about solidarity and working together to make our neighbourhoods, city, province, a place where people who want to live and raise their families, and where no one is left behind. Let's give a warm welcome to Melissa Dvorak.
All right, this is great. Good evening, sisters, brothers, and friends, and welcome to the 67th Convention of the Manitoba Government and General Employees Union. My name is Melissa Dvorak, and I'm the president of the Winnipeg Labour Council, and it is my honor to bring greetings to all of you here tonight in Winnipeg and to those that are zooming in from somewhere else in the province. I am so proud to be here, not only as Labour Council president, but as a proud MGEU member from Local 369, community-based social services component. Woo! When I'm asked to bring greetings, I usually want to talk about the Labour Council and why it's important to get involved, but tonight I really want to talk about solidarity. I want to tell you how proud I am to be an MGEU member, how proud I am to witness the strength and solidarity of this union, specifically over these last couple of years. I have spent many years actively involved in my local and this union at different levels, but now I am watching from the sidelines. I'm watching what my union is doing. I have witnessed your incredible Catch Up, Keep Up campaign. You have worked so hard to solidify commitment to this slogan for all MGEU members. You are spreading the message through tireless membership engagement and those great t-shirts that I see everywhere. And I want to know where I can get one. Watching members support one another on the picket line, I have heard things like, we want to make sure that all of our members are getting a fair deal. We want to ensure that those at the bottom are getting gains too. And we won't stop until we all benefit. I've seen positive attitudes and smiles in the pouring rain. I have witnessed optimistic outlooks, the feeling of strength in numbers. I heard just recently an MPI member saying, "I was never a union guy until now, and now I can see what we can do together." Members from Terranet, MLCC, MPI, I've seen you walking on each other's picket lines, attend each other's rallies, and even speak at each other's rallies. I have watched MGEU striking workers showing up at rallies and pickets for other unions as well. That is solidarity. Messages like, "We support you," "We have your backs," it shows. MGEU members are everywhere. I've watched you join forces across the labor movement, most recently with UFCW and CUPE Manitoba, to highlight community-based social services, solidarity through the labor movement. I have seen my union, this union, along with others, taking a stand against hate and the right-wing movement, most recently last month at a counter-protest at the Legislative. We all showed up to support all children's rights to be safe in schools. That is exciting to see. It just shows how strong we are when we all can be together. We never have to stand alone. Most recently, I have seen MGEU members working on this year's provincial election, electing a government who cares for workers and labor. Wasn't that amazing? Bye-bye, Heather. Hours and hours of volunteering and canvassing. Some of you even walking all day after walking all day on a picket line, but it sure paid off. I am still so excited and optimistic about Manitoba's future. Being a part of that result is solidarity. I've looked at your resolutions that you're going to debate over these next few days. Resolutions like pay equity, public health care, truth and reconciliation, 94 calls to action, sick days for all. It is evident that your belief in strength, support, and solidarity falls beyond your union. I have seen so many MGEU members participate in centralized labor bodies, the Canadian Labour Congress, the Manitoba Federation of Labour, and yes, labor councils throughout the province, in Brandon, Portage, Thompson, and right here in Winnipeg. Thank you for getting involved and for caring not only about your job, but about your country, your province, your city, your neighborhood, and for all citizens, those less fortunate, those who are experiencing mental health issues, the homeless, and those with addictions. That is solidarity. That is the labor movement. We don't leave anyone behind. I want to give big kudos out to President Kyle Ross for leading the way to the solidarity in this union. But it also goes to your board, your local executives, members, and the MGEU's team of excellent staff. Yeah. And you, the convention delegates, you're deciding the direction of the MGEU in the coming years. What you do here at convention is very important. If this isn't your first convention, find someone who is here for the first time. Introduce yourself, make connections, answer questions. If this is your first convention, take it all in. Speak your mind, debate, vote, ask questions, meet people, have fun, and make friends. There is such a wealth of knowledge, of energy here, and if we can work together, share the knowledge and ideas, we can influence change. The work you do here at convention is important to our movement, and I send solidarity to all of you over the next 3 days. The work you do here can only make our movement stronger. In closing, there has always been issues impacting workers here in Winnipeg and throughout Manitoba, and that won't end. But that's why solidarity in labor is always important. When we stand together, we can make our communities, cities, and province better. We stand together for good jobs and a strong community, one where no one is left behind, and I am proud that the MGEU is leading the way. Thank you again for inviting me to bring greetings and to your convention, and being an MGEU member makes it even more sweet. Enjoy your convention, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Melissa. Now I'd like to welcome Janet Kaler, our Director of Member Services, to the podium. Janet has a few things to go through this evening for you. First, she's going to walk us through the respectful conduct, convention process and procedure. Following that, she'll outline the provincial table officer election procedures. And finally, she'll walk us through how to cast our electronic votes. Janet?
Thanks, Carl. Well, good evening, everybody. In your delegate book on page 6, which I trust you all have out or open, you'll see a copy of the Respectful Workplace Conduct, our convention policy and procedures process, and I would like to take an opportunity to walk you through it. And I see people flipping, so I'll give you a sec to do that. The MGEU is committed to maintaining a positive, safe, and healthy environment for all members and staff, regardless whether you are participating in person or online. Solidarity within our union is based on the principle that we are all equal and deserve mutual respect. Any behavior that is disrespectful, intimidating, hostile, or offensive will not be condoned or tolerated. This behavior includes, but is not limited to, harassment on the basis of race, sex, age, ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation and political belief, physical or mental abilities. If the member, staff person, or guest at the MGEU convention feels they are being disrespected, they should let the offending individual know that their conduct is unacceptable and unwelcome. If they don't feel comfortable talking with the offending individual or can't resolve the matter and require further assistance, please contact either MGEU Director of Negotiations, my colleague Sheila Gordon, or Jean-Guy Bourgeois, our member of Internal Operations. Sheila and Jean-Guy can be reached out for this purpose during convention at either conduct@mgeu.ca or through the MGEU Resource Centre at 204-982-6438. You can also find them on the convention floor. They're probably sitting somewhere in the back throughout the time. And so now I'd like to go through the provincial election process. As I'm the chair for the provincial table officer elections, I'd now like to explain the process that we use for MGEU's election of provincial officers. Delegates will be voting on officer positions as follows: president, then first, then second, then third, then fourth. Elections will be held Saturday, October 21st in the morning, and each candidate needs to win 50% plus one majority. For these votes, you will have 2 minutes to cast your ballot, but I would suggest to you by Saturday morning you'll have had lots of practice in voting, and that will give you plenty of time. Those wishing to run for any of these positions must have their nominations papers to me by Friday, October 20th at noon, which in this regard means you either physically hand them to me by noon or you submit them to our registration desk by October 20th at noon. Nominators for candidates seeking these positions must be convention delegates. Nominations papers, if you're considering this option, are available at the registration desk at any time between now and noon tomorrow. Once your nomination papers are completed, again, you can give them directly to the registration desk, and please ask for Dan McKay, one of our staff there. Regarding the display of candidate promotional content during convention and related events, I would like to offer some clarity for everybody. The delegate online provides clear direction on how to enter your name when logging into convention. All delegates are expected to adhere to this direction so that delegates can be recognized appropriately. Delegates may not enter candidate promotional material into their name field. In addition, during convention, in person in particular, delegates are permitted to wear T-shirts, scarves, buttons, and other clothing that displays promotional languages or images in support of any of the election candidates. This will also be permitted for delegates on camera in the virtual platform. During in-person conventions, posters are not permitted in the convention hall or hotel. Similarly, virtual delegates may not display promotional language, images in support of election candidates with virtual physical backdrops. As always, the MGEU logo may not be used in any promotional materials or items in support of a candidate. And of course, all candidate material and items have to comply with our respectful workplace policy. So, at this time, I'm going to call on Dots to give us a voting demo. But I don't see anybody moving, so, okay, sorry. He's coming.
Hello, thank you very much. So we're just going to go over a few slides to do with voting. If we could bring those up. Sorry, is it possible to get it on one of the comfort monitors as well? If not, that's okay, I'll just look behind me. So just a couple pointers. Please remember to bring your login information. That'll be used to log into the voting platform. It's helpful to write it down for quick reference. There is Wi-Fi available in the room. The network is Victoria in guest fiber, and I believe there's no password. Next slide, please. If you're joining us online, actually, you know what, Matt, we can skip these slides and just go to the voting. Thanks, Matt. This is Matt at the back here. Great, awesome. So just for the voting part of things, we've opened up a test vote right now. It's available to everyone, and we'll have it open for about a minute after I'm done as well. So next slide, please. The email that you would have received looks something like this. There we go. You're looking for that voter ID and password. That's the part that I was mentioning. It's helpful to write that down. And so then you're going to go to the voting platform. It's at mgeu.dotsconnect.live. You're going to enter your ID and password and click login. Once you're logged in, if you're already logged in and you don't see a ballot open, just click that next vote button. That'll refresh the page. And then you're going to end up seeing a blue clickable link that says vote now and the name of the motion or resolution. You're going to make your selection, click continue, and it is a two-step process. You're going to need to click confirm as well after you've done that. Once you click confirm, you'll get a message that says success, and you know that your ballot has been cast. So we're going to throw some support information up there if anyone's having any issues, but other than that, please go ahead, go to the voting platform and cast your vote for the test ballot. Thank you very much.
Hand up or go to the back and talk to our Dots folks. Maybe some people chose not to because they've done lots of experience, but if you're having difficulty, these are the times to sort it out when we're not voting on resolutions. I don't see any hands up, but again, our Dots folks are available, and the email address that was provided and the phone number will have ongoing support throughout convention, okay? All right, so a couple important things to remember. Oh, sorry. Okay, the ballot's getting closed. And the results are... It only works if after I do it, the results come. Now I've done it twice, it's lost all its magic. Okay, let's post the results. I'm told they're ready. Are they up? They're up. Okay, cool. Okay, so a couple things to remember. When you're voting on resolutions, even though the committees, various committees have provided a recommendation, you're not voting on the recommendation, you're voting on the resolution. Their recommendation comes from having done some research, some review, some dialogue, but again, ultimately the decision rests with all of you. So you should consider and read their recommendations, but again, you should be making your own determination on behalf of the values of you and your local. Before we, we just did our chest vote. So I'll just remind you, on normal resolutions, there's 1 minute to vote. When we do elections for provincial table officers on Saturday mornings, we'll have 2 minutes to vote just to make sure everybody has enough time to vote. For votes on regular motions, they have to have 50% plus 1 for it to pass. For votes on constitutional resolutions, a 2/3 majority is required for it to pass. How fast or slow this process goes really depends on how quickly delegates are responding and perhaps how fast technology helps us. But we know from past conventions that as we go along, everybody gets more familiar, the votes come in quicker, and you'll see it move a lot faster over the day tomorrow. For in-person delegates, as I mentioned, DOT's tech staff are here to assist you with any issues. They're in the back of the hall. Online delegates, if you have any issues with your technology, please go to page 12 of your book, and the phone number's there for you to get some help. Just a reminder for everybody that you should make sure that your secure voting page stays open so you don't have to log in every time there's a vote. Some votes come a bit unexpectedly when somebody wants to make an amendment or this or that, so keep your page open so you can vote all the time. So that's it for me, and I will see you tomorrow. Except okay, I'm done. I did. I almost did.
It's here. Sure. Thank you, Janet. Now to the credentials report. But before I ask the credential committee to present their first report to delegates, I'd like to introduce this year's committee. This year's committee consists of Diana Schultz, Tammy Crow, and Amanda Russell. Now I'd invite Diana Schultz to the mic here to move the credentials report.
Hi, everyone. I'm Diana Schultz, and typically I would do this from the floor, but I don't have a paper, so I'm doing it from here so I can see. So this evening, welcome, and we have 200 in-person delegates registered. We have 28 online delegates registered for a total number of 228 registered delegates. We also have 9 in-person observers registered, and we have 11 honorary life members, solidarity members, and guests. I so move this report. Thank you.
Do we have a seconder for the motion to move? See a hand way over there, Cara Jean Miller. It's been moved and seconded. Yeah, I can't speak English today. The credentials as presented. Can we put? I'm asked the delegates to vote now on the motion to accept the credentials report. Once it's up, the ballot is now open. The vote is now closed. We'll get the results up shortly. Oh, is the results going up? That is carried, and the results are now visible. I can't see it, but. Hope everyone's had an opportunity to review the agenda. I'd entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. Need a mover and a seconder for the agenda. Someone wants to go to the mic. Darcel, you're moving it. And Paul Meyerson, you're seconding. Really, you should go to the mic, though. Introduce yourself, where you're from. But we'll let it slide for today. There's Darcel Lecoq from Legal, I remember, and Paul, Social Sciences. So the ballot is now open, so please take this opportunity to vote. I laugh because my notes say, please ask the delegates to vote no on the motion. I think it's now, but. The ballot is now closed. That's carried, and the results will be displayed right away. Obviously carried. Not unanimous though, come on. Now we have to move to adopting the minutes from our special conventions. I will need a mover and a seconder as well, so. Sorry, I don't know your name. Last name too? Amy Cunningham, and so a seconder, Reno Fleury. I don't know where the ballot's at, but motion for the minutes has been moved and seconded. The ballot is now open. The ballot is now closed. And that's carried. Now we have another set of minutes to move because we had two special conventions. So now I'd like to call for adoption of this minutes from Special Convention 2023. I will need a mover and a seconder. Paul's moving. Shirley Russell seconding. Thank you. The ballot will be open shortly. The ballot is now open for voting on the 2023 minutes. There's nothing there. Fifteen seconds remaining on the ballot. The ballot is now closed. The results are there, and that's carried. What do we have left to do here? I think we're good. Thank you all for doing that. Now we've got through those things. We've practiced voting a couple times. Now I encourage you to stand up and stretch because it's the President's address and it's a pretty lengthy one. We had a busy year, so I was saying just stand up, stretch a second because I'm not lying to you. We got a big story to tell. So move around a bit. I asked for a shorter speech, and then we said there was too much went on, so we never got that opportunity. So, what's that? Exactly. And my one teleprompter is dead. So I was trying to tell him, this one's dead. No, it's dead. We're off. There we go. I asked for 10 to 20. I asked for 15 to 20 minutes. They gave me half an hour. Yeah, good to go. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. There, now we're all good, I hope. Now we're ready. It's quite a story the last 2 years, So good evening, everyone. I have to tell you, standing up here, contributing to our democracy of our union, it's never going to get old, which is good, because this is our 4th convention in 2 years. Virtual, in person, hybrid, fall, winter, spring. We just couldn't get enough conventions in this last term, right? Did you know at our convention in June 2022, the hybrid convention, where we went through resolutions from 2021, delegates cast over 9,000 electronic ballots. 64 delegates spoke in debate, 20 of them for the first time. Let's see if we can top that this week, or this weekend. So you remember in school, the teacher would ask to stand up and tell everyone how you spent your summer? It's going to be a little bit like that this evening, because really, what didn't we do this summer? Honestly, it felt like a couple decades worth of work in a couple months. But in reality, the work and the strategizing started a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away under a Tory government. This evening, I'm going to take you back a couple years, because there wasn't much that wasn't thrown at us. It was relentless, which meant we often had no choice but to play defense. But that's not the whole story. Plenty of times, we went on offense too. Either way, it's important to look back on what we've been through together and celebrate some of our unprecedented victories of our union. When I took over the job as MGEU president, the Tories were coming at us from every angle. Between 2016 and 2022, they had cut 2,600 jobs from the civil service. In Portage, they just kept closing down our workplaces altogether. They weren't keeping their promises to help to our healthcare members, who were still reeling from the pandemic. Our members in community-based social services remained completely off their radar. And pretty soon, they were dusting off their efforts to privatize Manitoba liquor sales. Luckily, the newly elected MGEU board was up to the task. From day one, it was clear that this unified group of leaders who understood their own groups really well, but who also wanted to work together for the greater good. To all of you who served me this past 2 years, I can't thank you enough. We get so busy, it can become a bit of a blur. But putting together this speech made me realize just how much we've accomplished. In early 2022, we hit the ground running by investing in a new TV and online ad campaign that asked Manitobans a critical question: cuts that hurt or services that help? What would you choose? You probably remember. When I say it, I hear the lady's voice when I ever see the ad. So. I'm pretty confident I know what all you guys choose. So, the online ads for the campaign encourage Manitobans to send an email message to Premier Stephenson. We need to invest in workers on the front lines and protect the public services we all count on and deserve. We also look for credible partners who might support and amplify our message. Economics and labor studies profs at the U of M contacted our civil service members to hear their thoughts on working under a government where aggressive vacancy management, privatization, budget cuts, and a very challenging environment had become the norm. Research from the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives surveyed our healthcare members about their pandemic experience. And our own staff researcher worked with economists and community leaders in Portage to release a report showing the economic impact of shutting down several major employers in that city. The results of these joint studies garnered tons of media coverage, including a series of articles in the Free Press on how austerity has undermined our public services and harmed the workers who provide them. Some of the more eye-opening stats make for great social media posts too. If you haven't noticed them, you're probably living under a rock, so they're posted all the time. We also continue to partner with other unions in common causes. Like us, CUPE and UFCW represent workers in group homes, shelters, and other community-based social services. So we continue to join forces in our advertising. The Not Just a Job campaign focused on how chronically low wages in the field leads to higher turnover, which leads to recruitment and retention problems, which leads to less consistent and reliable essential services. And for the first time in years, we saw a ray of hope. The government announced it will invest millions to improve wages for workers who provide direct services for Manitobans with disabilities. But with this deficit in government, if we saw a small half step forward, there was always 3 steps back. In spring of 2022, they dusted off the old privatization playbook and introduced Bill 42. If passed into law, the bill would shift a large portion of our liquor sales from public to private stores. So once again, these great people, the MGEU board, was approving a full-on campaign for keeping liquor public. Through online radio ads, we encourage Manitobans to send a clear message to Heather: don't fix what ain't broke. Our public liquor sales system works well and makes profits that are invested back into critical services. So let's keep it public. And here, I have to give a shout out to our activists because you supported this advertising by mobilizing big time. We did phone banks, volunteer crews outside liquor stores. Friday before a long weekend, you see MGU activists, sometimes a few staff, many of these board members, out front of the store sending a message: public serves us better. And guess what? We did it. We held them off until Manitobans could vote them out. I can't count the number of times over the last couple of years I talked to reporters about how government policy was failing our members, and by extension, failing Manitobans. Understaffing and the ongoing backlog at vital statistics, understaffing and wait times in EMS, the recruitment and retention crisis in conservation. Where are the pay incentives for our members in healthcare? Last summer, we found out through a Freedom of Information request that the number of correctional officers who filed WCB claims for PTSD has more than doubled since 2018. More than doubled. So last summer, the board approved a new campaign, not just a uniform, with online videos, radio and print ads, and a dedicated webpage. In some cases, like with the eventual payout of healthcare pay incentives, we saw an obvious result. In others, it was more about them appeasing a squeaky wheel. They gave us a little something, not enough, but more than we would have got if we were just sat there quietly. This may sound depressing, and it was. Defense can seem pretty thankless when your employer is the government. But as I said, a huge portion of our efforts these last couple of years have been proactive, not reactive. That MGU board of ours I was talking about, the government pushed them back against the ropes, but we came back swinging. So even with all the challenges, or maybe in a weird way because of them, our union has been in full-on building mode. It's probably why our staff look pretty tired. So my speechwriter said you guys should give him a hug, but I don't know if that's PG, so let's just give him a fist bump for everybody to see around, because that's a little more fair, right? A few months after our last convention, one of the many, once all of us elected to the board had a chance to kind of settle in, we started working on a new 5-year strategic plan. The process is guided by what we call the Risk and Strategy Committee, which is basically made up of some interested board members and myself. By October, we'd finalize 4 priorities, which are, you ready? 1, increasing our leverage at the bargaining table. 2, engaging our members. 3, growing and supporting our activists. And 4, continuous technological modernization. That one's a mouthful. I struggle with that one sometimes. As you can probably tell, they aren't really standalone. They reinforce each other. Like some activities could fall under more than one priority, or even all of them. But I'm going to speak to all of them because they've really made a difference and we've made good progress in each area. The first priority, increasing our leverage at the bargaining table, is near and dear to me because this is the only thing that affects each and every member that are part of the MGU. When I ran for president, back when I had a few less gray hairs, probably a lot less to be honest, but they're coming in fast now. I had a few priorities, but the biggest boiled down to this. I wanted MGU members to quit talking about the union. The union should do this. The union should do that. I'm sure you all hear it too. Why isn't the union fighting harder at the table? Well, the union isn't me. It's not you. It's not the staff. It's all of us combined. We have to work together. We are all part of this. We are the union. In 2022 alone, we held over 100 local bargaining proposal meetings. By 2023, 2/3 of us were hitting a wall at the table, a 2% wall. But if most of those members represented at those tables expected to sit back and let the union do something, well, we were toast. After Brian Pallister was elected, public sector unions like ours had no choice but to fight his government's attacks on our labor rights through the courts. That unconstitutional wage freeze legislation, their bad faith refusal to allow civil service arbitration, didn't matter. Right was on our side, and legal challenges were the right thing to do. Those legal challenges were necessary and successful. But I know for me, as a member, those years also felt demoralizing and disempowering, which is what Pallister was hoping for, I guess. But when I put my name forward for election, though, he was on his way out. The courts were siding with us. Manitobans were living through a life-altering pandemic. Not so. The whole playing field was changing. And I wanted to empower MGU members again, give them the confidence and the tools to do what unions are best at, harnessing resources and taking collective action. By the fall of 2022, post-pandemic, I'd say that we had a whole new ballgame. Members of Beacon Hill Lodge gave their bargaining committee a strong strike mandate before voting to pursue fast-track mediation. Members of Les Tournesols de Saint-Vital, a small francophone daycare, walked the picket line for 4 weeks, standing strong against the employer concessions until reaching a 5-year agreement at the table. At the same time, as I said before, 2/3 of our members, most of our largest tables, were heading into negotiations. So the MGU board began laying a foundation for a new era of MGU collective action. With the cost of living now at a major issue for our members, we approved a union-wide bargaining framework built around inflation protection. We asked the Finance Committee to come up with recommendations to modernize our strike toolbox, strike pay and related policies. We approved a unifying communications campaign with a simple message. If we want to catch up and keep up, we must all stand up. By February 2023, we were hosting an online special convention to debate and vote on the Finance Committee's recommendations. Delegates voted overwhelmingly in favor of significantly increasing strike pay, enabling members to earn strike pay while on rotating or targeted job actions. Over the next few months, we set up phone banks and began holding member outreach events to get the message out. By spring 2023, within 5 months of our one-day convention and the Catch Up, Keep Up campaign launch, 11 bargaining units had delivered strong strike mandates to their bargaining committees. And in many cases, employers returned to the table with improved offers and agreements were reached. Sometimes it took the help of a third party. But without a doubt, the added leverage of a strike mandate allowed those bargaining committees to achieve more than they would have without them. Which brings me to how I spent my summer. Not at the lake. And how so many of you did too. I think we should call it the MGU Summer of Strike. I mean solidarity, right? Solidarity. By the end of June, our liquor workers were getting nowhere at the table. It was clear the Stephenson government was still dictating a general wage increase mandate of you can offer 2% per year. Any more is unnegotiable. But our union's researcher, Andy, shout out to Andy, this is big. Andy found the golden nugget. He found the double standard. The Premier and all MLAs had just accepted 3.3% general wage increase, and they were on track to accept 3.6 in 2024 and 3.6 in 2025. So on July 6th, some MGU members and I headed over to James Tietzma's office to hand out leaflets, pointing out that there seems to be 2 sets of rules, one for those in charge and one for those delivering services on the front line. Tietzma was the minister responsible for the civil service. It feels pretty good to say he was the minister for civil service. And to kick it off, he wasn't even there. But the media showed up, and this double standard, as you probably know, became a rallying cry central for our message during the strike. The next week, we held a big event in Memorial Park, inviting civil service members in the downtown area for an ice cream and to hear more about Catch Up, Keep Up. It was one of those days when it's just a total high to be MGU president. Hundreds of members came out, lots of young people who've probably never even been to a union meeting. They were all fed up and wanted to talk and learn more. We had members and staff there with iPads, making sure everyone's contact information was up to date. The weather was great, and it set the template for the Civil Service Bargaining Committee heading out to larger civil service workplaces over the next couple months. It was one more shot in the arm for the summer of solidarity. Which was good, because not long after, liquor members and members at the land titles office had begun refusing all overtime and staging targeted walkouts. On July 18th, we released an open letter to the Premier. I don't know if she read it, but based on that U of M report I was talking about earlier, I told reporters that low morale and low wages are making it nearly impossible to recruit and retain experienced workers to deliver public services. In other words, there's no way to fix public services as long as Steffenson's 2% wage mandate remains in place. On August 3rd, about 1,000 of us, including striking members and Labour supporters from here in Manitoba and across the country, marched en masse down Broadway to the legislature. This was the first of 5 over the next 8 weeks, and I have to tell you, nothing reminds you of what an engaged and empowered membership is like when you have that many people in front of the ledge. The media coverage was amazing, and it became clearer and clearer to us that we had a unique opportunity. If we didn't take a stand now, when the hell would we? On August 8th, liquor workers began a province-wide strike. On August 11th, I held a media conference from the Terranet picket line, announcing that half our members at the land titles office were now on strike, creating unnecessary and serious disruptions in finalizing property transactions. Not long after this, Heather Steffenson made a big mistake, strategy-wise. She went on the record saying that our liquor workers just didn't understand the employer's offer and were being duped again by the union into strike action. Now I'm going to play you just a quick clip to show you what our members thought about that.
Of the union. Excuse me? I am the MGEU.
I definitely couldn't have said it better myself. So. A week later, we had a deal. On August 27th, liquor workers ratified a significantly improved agreement with the average general wage increase of 13% over 4 years. Then a day later, on August 28th, more than 1,700 MPI members walked off the job in a full-scale province-wide strike. At issue, the same wage increase double standard, the same overcompensated and out-of-touch executives. The next day, Heather Steffenson made another unbelievable move. Here's what she had to say.
I'd like to say yes to everything, but sometimes the answer just has to be no.
That's Premier Heather Steffenson in a video posted to social media on Monday. In that video, the Premier spoke about the Manitoba Government and General Employees Union, whose members at Manitoba Liquor and Lotteries and Manitoba Public Insurance went on strike this summer.
The same union leaders said no to fair raises and binding arbitration because of politics. Worse, they're demanding increases double the size of healthcare workers. That's where I draw the line.
MGEU President Kyle Ross says he finds the Premier's video amusing because she previously claimed she played no role in labor talks, either involving striking liquor workers or MPI employees.
For the past 5 weeks, every time we said the Premier, she continued to say it wasn't her, she wasn't involved, she had nothing to do with it. All of a sudden now she's telling us that she said no.
Ross also poked fun at the Premier's statement about drawing a line on liquor worker wages. Liquor and Lotteries employees were able to hammer out a deal last week with annual wage increases close to 3%.
Obviously the line wasn't set in stone or drawn in the sand or must have washed away because honestly, we proved that their mandate wasn't wasn't set in stone.
The Premier chose not to respond to the union's comments.
It's time to stop playing politics.
Her office says the video speaks for itself. Bartley Kivas, CBC News, Winnipeg.
And it's pretty obvious. That video does speak for itself, I'd say. So, a few days later, the Steinbach Carillon, of all places, ran an editorial. Within a week, this is what Shannon Sampert of the Free Press had to say. Quick, who had labor issues on their election bingo card for top issues? Not me, but it's certainly shaping up to be the Achilles heel of the Stephenson Tories. But to be clear, the MGEU is, was, and always will be a nonpartisan union. But the Premier herself was somehow making it political, which only made MGEU members even more determined. At this point, can I ask everyone here from a local who took job action to stand up? Those of you who are on strike, would you please stand? Thank you. As I often said at our rallies, walking off the job is scary. It impacts not just you, but your entire family. It takes a financial toll and a mental toll. Summer vacations were put on hold. And I want to say thank you on behalf of your union for standing strong, despite everything. The rain, the heat, the wasps, so many wasps. Those little traps don't really work. That's what we learned. And thank you for setting the momentum, because it just kept growing. By mid-September, the presidents of every civil service local were joining striking MPI and land titles members for a fourth mass rally in Memorial Park. The Civil Service Bargaining Committee began touring the province, advising members to reject the employer's 2% mandate and deliver them a strike mandate. A Viewpoints poll of Manitobans done between September 21st and 25th showed that most Manitobans fully supported our members' fight to catch up and keep up with the cost of living. So I guess it's no surprise, as I'm sure you all know, Heather Stephenson was soundly voted out as our employer. And I guess that's where Manitobans draw the line, right? In many ways, the stars have aligned for us. And that's thanks to a ton of previous planning and strategizing and hard work. We've been able to take full advantage. On October 6th, for the first time in MGEU history, 11,000 civil service members delivered a strong strike mandate. And I think that this historic event is a sign of the times. All over North America, workers are saying enough is enough. But it's also a sign that our members believed in themselves and each other. Our new strike policies meant a small group like our land titles members could go out on a targeted picket to minimize personal hardship. And I'm not saying it wasn't hard or that there wasn't a lot of sacrifice, but it was doable. And by holding the line, now they've got a chance through arbitration to see the wage increases they've earned. At this point, after one of MGEU's toughest, busiest, riskiest few months in recent memory, fairness is in sight. Our new Premier walked the line with striking MGEU members this summer. When asked by a reporter if he had anything to say to MPI folks, he said straight out, "I've got your back." There is still lots of work to do, many discussions to be had. Right now, though, while we're all here together, I think we need to turn to one another and breathe a sigh of relief and say, "Good job. We're ready. Bring on the next few months." So that's our summer of solidarity in a nutshell. So far, and to be continued. But it's not the whole story either, not even close. While all this drama has been going on, we've also been building up our union for success on all kinds of different fronts. Let's go back to number 2 of the strategic plan. We said we were going to focus on engaging members. So before the whole summer of solidarity got underway, we approved a refresh of the MGEU's new membership orientation process. Because we knew that most locals have terms in their agreements for a 10 or 15-minute intro into the union. We also knew that intro wasn't always happening, or wasn't as effective as we would like. So we launched a new orientation toolbox for workplace reps. It includes a 2-minute animated video that sums up all you might need to know right off the top. There's simplified speaking notes for one-on-one meetings and slides for group presentations. And most importantly, new hires can now fill out an application form to become an MGEU member online. It's quick, it's easy, saves us postage and paper, so it's got all the good things, right? Since last convention, MGEU's Healthy Minds at Work Committee also did a ton of work to engage with members who may never even speak at a rally or attend a local meeting. In April 2022, health restrictions were still an issue, so the committee invited 150 members interested in creating a psychologically safer workplace to attend a one-day webinar. The Canadian Mental Health Association, who hosted the forum, ran dozens of these things during the pandemic and said our members were the most actively engaged they'd ever seen, which was good, because we were able to harness that energy a few months later when those same members attended Manitoba's first conference devoted to mental health in the workplace. Sponsored by MGEU, the 2-day conference was organized by the Healthy Minds Committee and the CMHA. It featured workshops and expert speakers, including our own Garvin Pinette, a correctional officer who is now a highly respected mental health advocate and trainer. For many of our members who took part, this was their first union event, and they came away eager to work with us when it comes to mental health on the job. We've been a little sidetracked with bargaining and strikes, but our commitment hasn't wavered, so stay tuned. Can anyone tell me what the third strategic priority was? I know it, but can any of you tell me it? I have it here in front of me. So that was number 4. It's growing and supporting our activists. This also was a big part of my speech when I ran for election last term. I wanted to make it easier for our elected leadership to reach out to their own members and vice versa. So right after the last convention, each component director sent out an email introducing themselves and letting their members know how to get in touch. And we'll be doing that again this time around. Those of you who attended component meetings, you'll all be familiar with our message guide. Over the last year or so, our media and communication specialists, Jody and Kim, have attended component meetings to make sure we're all on the same page when it comes to explaining why protecting public services is so important. We recently also launched a pilot project with a number of local presidents who now have an mgeu.ca email address. If this seems a way to help communication between workplace reps and their members, we're looking to expand it further. We also did our first online global activist survey. Hands up who filled it out. Come on! I expect more next round, okay, guys? Sharing your thoughts and ideas with us is so important, whether it's through forums like this or in between conventions. To keep improving things for you all, we need to create a feedback loop. We can't fix what we don't know about. The results of the survey have been reviewed by the Risk and Strategy Committee, and they've made some recommendations to the board, so more to come on that as well. This past spring, the MGEU Women's Committee held a 2-day conference called Breaking Barriers. The idea was to connect mentors with those who've never attended a union event like this before. If you attended the Women's Conference and this is your first convention, can you stand up? And how about those how many here is their first convention, period, first convention? There must be a, awesome. Welcome, I hope you guys enjoyed, I hope to see you back again. So, last time we met like this, we made resolutions to address issues related to equality, diversity, and inclusion. We know we have work to do in making sure members from diverse backgrounds feel comfortable representing themselves and their communities within our union. The challenge is, it's not always easy to identify these folks. So the Equality and Human Rights Committee has launched a member mapping project. From now on, members will get an opportunity to self-identify as a member of an equity-deprived group. When leadership roles within the MGEU or other labor organizations open up, we can let them know. We'll be debating more of these recommendations and suggestions about our diverse representation over the next couple days. So after the weekend, hopefully we'll be able to charge full steam ahead. And finally, our last strategic priority. As a computer analyst, I have to tell you they appear in no particular order. They're all important. The last one is continuous technological modernization, and that one's a mouthful for me for some reason. should be able to say it, I'm a computer programmer. And I think we're off to a great start. Before the pandemic, hybrid meetings like these would have been unthinkable. But necessity is the mother of invention, and things change quickly. By partnering with DOTS and refining and updating our use of hybrid meeting technology, we were able to engage members in strike mandate meetings and strike update meetings and many other meetings like never before. Honestly, it's hard to imagine how we would have done it without all that technology. And here's the kicker. While all that was going on, we launched a new and improved website. Thanks to Jeremy there, he's back at the tech table. We now have a site that's more responsive to our needs, up to date with current IT system requirements, and optimized for mobile phone use. And thanks to Jill, our organizer, we weren't just building websites while seeking dozens of strike mandates, we were growing our union. For years, we've been working with some extremely committed support staff within the Winnipeg School Division to get them stronger representation. And this summer was our chance. These folks, along with MGEU staff, stood outside schools for hours. They made phone calls. They ran webinars. They used every tool in the box to get those all-important cards signed. It was a momentous task, but we never gave up, and we didn't deal with the WASPs. And today, support staff in the division, including EAs, clerks, library technicians, crossing guards, and computer technicians, now they have the resources and support of a strong, effective union. Those of you here from our newest local, can you please stand? I want to say welcome and thank you for all your hard work. We couldn't have done this without you guys, and we're looking forward to bringing you guys what you've earned and what you deserve. We'll support you all the way. And now I'd like to ask all MGEU staff here in the room to stand up too, because they've done so much work over this last term. It's been unbelievable. We've asked so much of them. So if you guys would stand, the staff that's here, I think you're mostly in the back. But we definitely asked a lot of them, or I did anyway, this last year, and I really appreciate their effort and work. We couldn't have been successful without their work, so it's really makes me feel good and glad they're here, and I'm glad they've been able to support me through this, and as you guys as well. It's been an extremely busy summer. We've asked a lot of them. So the reality is, though, while we were madly mobilizing members around mandates, the crucial day-to-day business of our union carried on. From October 1st, 2022 to October 2023, the MGEU answered nearly 24,000 calls and answered 5,000 emails. The Education Department ran nearly 50 training sessions. I know this because I asked them to keep track. I like numbers, so. Reps continued troubleshooting and problem solving with members. Grievances were being filed, 478 to be exact. Even with all this labor strife, bargaining committees managed to negotiate 44 collective agreements since our last convention. That's a ton of local meetings and bargaining meetings and ratification meetings. It's always busy. It's pretty amazing if you think about it. It's this past year's just flew by, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I feel like I've just been through what the best democracy has to offer. We showed what's possible when those who, with a vote, feel empowered enough and trust in their leaders enough and stand strong for a change. And we just saw Manitobans choose a future where frontline workers and public services are actually valued. I'm under no illusions that our work under the NDP government is going to be a bed of roses, but I can tell you, as a union, we've come out the other side of the storm stronger than ever. These are exciting days for MGEU members, and I can't wait to begin mapping them out with you this next term, tackling every challenge, seizing every opportunity, with all of you. Thank you. thank you for that. It's really, really heartfelt. So I have a couple announcements before we adjourn for the evening. Tomorrow, we'll be passing around a hat for the MPI workers on strike. When we get donations for the workers, we usually put it towards food cards, and they raffle them off or draw them on the picket lines. I think it's something really important. So tomorrow morning, we'll be passing around a hat, and it'll be at the registration table too, if anyone wants to make donations. Also, we'll have a bus at lunch. The King Edward picket line is only about, it's a 50-minute walk, but we'll have a shuttle if people want to go. So we'll adjourn a little bit early for lunch. So if those of you want to go join that picket line, I'm sure they would really appreciate the support. If you could get out there, it would be really good. They've really pumped their tires. Tomorrow marks 8 weeks on strike for them, far longer than any of us envisioned, and it's been a tough slog for them, and any support really goes a long way with them. So as a former MPI employee, I really appreciate you guys supporting them. I think they've took on a big part of this fight that I don't think they or we expected to last this long. We figured we'd get a deal. So, but they're still standing strong, and we're going to get them a good deal, that's for sure. For those who have rested for the Workers of Color Caucus breakfast tomorrow, it will be in Embassy Room A and B at 7:30 a.m. There's an all-candidates reception tonight in the Wellington Ballroom starting at 8:30. And that concludes today's event. So thank you all for listening, and let's have a great couple days tomorrow and the day after. So we're adjourned for the evening.